about what program should you actually apply for or apply to when you want to go abroad to study. Should you apply for postgraduate diploma? Should you apply for masters? Or should you apply for PhD? I know a lot of people have this question because they always ask me. Somebody will come and say, I have a BSc in this, and I have PhD in this. What should I apply for masters, or should I do another postgraduate diploma, or I already have a master's? Should I apply for another master's? Or somebody will even asked me, I have a PhD, but I want to apply for another PhD. Is that all right for me? You know, one thing I want you to know is that you have, no matter what you are applying for, you have to apply to your program of best fit. And what does that mean? Program of best fit. What does that mean? It means a program that matches your background. But I just want to narrow it down today, especially narrow it down to when you are deciding PGD, masters, or PhD. So let's say I'm going to use scenarios. Somebody has a BSc. That's your highest level of education. So that means you can apply for two programs. You can apply for masters. That's intuitive, right? You can apply for masters, or you can apply for postgraduate diploma. Why would you apply for postgraduate diploma? Sometimes the commonest reason why people apply for postgraduate diploma is that their grade is not high enough. Let's say you have a 2-2 sometimes, or you have a third class, or you have a lower credit HND, or you even have a HND, okay? Some people will actually go ahead to apply for a postgraduate diploma in order to boost their grade before they go for the masters. However, can someone with a high grade in BSc apply for postgraduate diploma? The answer is yes, because postgraduate diploma is not just known for helping you upgrade. It's also is a type of postgraduate education, right? That's one. And okay, let me explain what I mean by it's a type of postgraduate education, because some courses, when you go for postgraduate diploma, they give you a lot of hands-on experience compared to when you go for a traditional master's. People that have have IT knowledge, or they have done information technology, many of them may not even have done information technology at BSc level, right? Or maybe you did. But people like that, we find it more helpful to go for a postgraduate diploma than a direct master's, because in a direct master's it's more book related, it's more academic. Meanwhile, a postgraduate diploma is more hands-on related, right? So somebody that have BSc, whether you have low grade or high grade, you can actually apply for a PGD or a master's. Now, another scenario is somebody that has a master's. You have a master's. What programs can you apply for? The next natural program for you to apply for is a PhD. But at the same time, you can actually apply for another master's. The only thing is that if you apply for another master's, make sure that it is not in the same course. Like let's say you did masters in computer science. If you want to do your second master's, don't do it in computer science. Right? Because if you do it in computer science, then you will have a problem getting visa. Because it's like, you already have a master's in computer science. Why are you doing another master's in computer science? However, you can do another master's and get away with it if you do it in another area. Let me give you an example. So since, let's say you have a master's and it's master's in computer science, right? And you want to do a second master's. Do you know you can do a master's in something like, say, public health? But your specialization would be in things that have to do with computer, or like people that have all this app that check heart rates. Don't you know that they need to have health knowledge and computer knowledge? So look for other places where your computer knowledge is already where your computer knowledge can be applied, and then take a second master's in that area. And I'll use computer knowledge as an example. Doesn't mean that it has to be computer. So let's say I'm thinking, let's say you did masters in arts, right? You can take another masters in, say, videography, right? So it's like art is general, but videography is like a niche. So even though you have a master's already, you can take another master's. Just make sure that you are not repeating the exact same masters. Let me give you even a more tricky example. There are some programs that are research-based, and there are some programs that are course-based, especially for masters, right? So if you did your first masters and your first masters is course-based masters, you can do another masters in the same area but research-based. Let's say you did a course-based masters, let's say course-based public health masters, which they usually say like MPH, masters in public health. You cannot do an MSc in public health, because even though the name is the same, they are different areas. Okay, they focus on different things. So one is not clinical. One is more like environmental focus or hands-on field focus. That's what I was looking for. Field focus. While the other is research focused. So you can do the same masters with the same name, but because the masters are different, it will still fly, right? It will not give you visa problem. So I have said that if you did masters, you can do PhD, definitely. You can do masters. You can do another masters. You can do masters in a different area that where your program is applied, or you can do masters in the same area but different focus, like course-based or versus research-based. Now, another thing you can do is that you can actually do a PgD. Just like PhD is for specialization, PgD can also be for specialization. Do you know? Yeah. So I always give this example that let's say, let me think now. Let's say you read food technology and you are doing food processing, food recycling and all that. But maybe your product, your focus is on how to package food. I'm just thinking top of my head, how to package food and all that. You can, and you have a master's already in food processing. If you want to specialize in a separate area that is not directly called food processing, instead of a PhD, and this is also special when your grade is not up to a PhD grade. When your grade is not up to a PhD grade. So in that case, what you can do is that you can take a PGD. PGD is called postgraduate diploma. You can do a postgraduate diploma in that same area. So let me give you an example. You are doing food processing. Sorry, what I meant is that you can do a PGD in the area you want to specialize. So you may be doing food processing, but your specialization, you want to specialize in how to process plastics. Okay, how to process plastics for food or something. So you don't necessarily have to do a PhD to specialize in that. You can do a PGD, which is like an 8 months or 8 months to 1 year program that has to do with plastic processing. I hope you're getting my example. So I don't want you to misquote my example or to take it out of context. The point is that you have a big area, you have your masters, you can do a PGD to specialize. So when you want to specialize, it is not only PhD that you use to specialize. You can specialize with PGD or PhD. And if your grade is not up to the grade for you to progress to PhD, because most times you need to get a B plus, minimum of a B, to progress to PhD after you do your masters. If your grade is not up to a PhD grade, the next best easiest way for you to progress or to specialize is to do a PGD. So with this, you have seen that somebody who has a master's can do a PhD, right, on the same field, can do another master's on a different area or with a different focus, or can do a PgD with a different focus as a form of specialization. You understood? So if you understood, you can type so that I get you, okay? So you understood this point. That is really, really great. Now, let's go to somebody that have a PhD. If you have a PhD, what other program can you do? You can do another PhD. The same thing, you can do a PgD. You can do a PhD or a PgD. I will not advise, or a master's if you are doing masters in a totally different area, right? I have seen some people that, they have a PhD in this area, like, which means they have bachelor's, master's, and PhD in an area, but they also want to do another, to do something in another area. They can do PGD, another master's, or another PhD in that area. Let me give you an example. And this is real life. I'm giving you real life examples, okay? So I have a friend that did physics. This friend did physics, bachelor's. So he also went ahead to do a master's in physics. Then went ahead to do PhD in physics, okay? But then when he finished his PhD, he started working in a cancer research lab. Remember, cancer research is health, but health also needs physics. Physics has, I think the area of physics he was working on, like all these people that use something like they call it what they call laser or laser beam to kill cancer cells or something. So he did physics and he's working in that lab, a cancer research lab. So when he started the cancer research lab, he could not understand anything about health because he is a physics guy, right? So what did he do? He took a postgraduate diploma in health sciences, a postgraduate diploma in public health. And of course, he did his final project in cancer-related thing. Okay? So, it is not strange. But however, if you already have a PhD, I want you to know that it is just natural that everybody, including me, including you yourself that you are talking, will be skeptical about agreeing with you that the reason you want to travel abroad for another PGD is that you want to do education. But the onus is on you to prove to that person that you need it. And how can you prove to this person? You can prove to that person by telling them where you work and the reason you really need this PGD, right? Even though you have your PhD. If there is a requirement at your workplace, you can include it in your school application to show them that this is a requirement. Or you can also include it in your what do you call it now? In your visa application to show the embassy that you are not just going there to play. And many of these persons, they're already working somewhere, right? Like, so get your leave of absence from where you're working. Get anything that shows that you really need this PGD. So I don't have it at the back of your mind, have this blanket thing that, I have PhD, that's the end of study for me. Because is it really the end of study for you? It's not. So, to summarize what I've said about PhD, I'm saying that somebody who already has a PhD can do another PhD, can do another master's, can do even a postgraduate diploma, and I gave you an example, okay? But it's like the friend I talked about, that friend was already in Canada when he was doing this. So all he needed was what? Get the admission and that's it. But if you already have a PhD and you're going to apply for visa, let's say that you want to go and study postgraduate diploma, you're going to apply for visa. It will be a tough battle to convince the visa officer that you want to do a PGD. But it is not impossible. So just know that you need to prove a lot in order to become convincing, right? So what does this, everything that I've said to you right now, what does that mean to you? What it means is that If you have if you have BSc, you can do PGD, you can do masters. If you have masters, you can do PGD, you can do masters, you can do PhD. If you have PhD, you can do PGD, you can do masters, you can do another PhD. What of if you have PGD already? If you have PGD already, the next best thing for you to do is for you to do masters. If you already have your PGD, I will not advise you to go for another PGD. Instead, go for a master's. If your grade is not so high, go for a course-based master's. Right? So, I know I've been getting a lot of questions around this topic where students are asking, what should I apply for? I have BSc in this. What should I apply for? I have PGD in this. Oh, my grade is low. Oh, my grade is high. What is the next best thing? I hope that this video has explained that to you. And if you have more questions, definitely reach out to me, Dr. Linda at VantageMigration.ca, and I'll be very happy to answer them for you, okay? Yeah, just send me an email. Shoot me an email, right? I reply my emails. I reply my emails. So, in fact, I reply my emails myself. So, be sure that I'll be reading them. I'll be reading them. So, shoot me an email at Dr. Linda at VantageMigration.ca if you have any question around this topic that I've talked about, and I'll be very happy to answer them. All right? So, with this, I hope I've been able to answer your question about what should you apply for when you're going abroad to study. Okay? All right, take care till I see you again.